Hello everyone, welcome, welcome. We are going to be doing a full face of MAC today. I thought it would be fun to dig into some older things and also some of the newer things. They have a beautiful collection out now called Boom Boom Bloom, and I'm more drawn to this collection than just about anything they've put out. I assume this is limited edition, but any other limited edition stuff like this really grabbed me, so I will incorporate some of that. Also just like some classic products that for a long time I hadn't tried. A few weeks ago, I got Studio Fix, you know, like I'd never used this before. So I thought it might be fun maybe from my perspective to let you know how this stuff goes for me. I'm pretty sure nothing in this video is a first impression though, so everything has gotten some use. And the first thing I'm going to throw on is a little bit of Strobe Cream. And this pink light, while I think this was released a while back with the collection of new Strobe Creams, it appears that they're kind of re-promoting it with this Boom Boom Bloom line. So this is just like a glowy moisturizer, and I already have moisturizer on, so I'm more or less using this as a primer. But I don't know if you can see kind of a pinky tone coming out of it. Maybe just a little bit. There are different ways you can play with Strobe Cream. Sometimes I've even dabbed some on top of makeup. Next we're going to move on to foundation, and I'm going to be using my Studio Fix Fluid, which has been something I remember hearing talked about ever since early YouTube days. I mean, I'm sure this product goes back way before that. It's a standard liquid foundation. We don't even have a pump here, and this shade, NW15, I'm going to warn you, it's going to look real peachy as I kind of dot this on my skin. It does blend in to a look that I like, but putting it on right now, you're kind of going to wonder how's that even going to work. So just bear with me for a second. Let me get it on. I mean, it just feels like such a classic liquid foundation. Not too thin, not too thick. I'm going to use my Sigma F84 here and get this all blended in, and I think maybe you'll see what I mean. Coverage seems to be pretty much medium for me. I haven't really made a lot of attempts to build this. I've just worked with different concealers on top. But I had asked on Twitter, I don't know if anybody remembers because this was, I don't know, a couple months ago, I asked what's your favorite foundation from MAC, and a lot of people said Studio Fix. I think that was probably the overwhelming top recommendation. I will say I think this has fared well on my skin just in terms of not causing any breakouts. It seems to last really well all day. I haven't noticed like much breakdown in product, so it's been a pretty like just solid foundation for me. Just maybe not as much coverage as a few of the cheaper options that I've been experimenting with lately. Like Hard Candy Glamouflage, let's say. Like, there's $6 of pure satisfaction, you know what I mean? But the way my skin is now, I'm not having a whole lot of trouble, spots to cover up. I'm okay overall with my skin, so a medium coverage will suffice, sure. By the way, I got new layers put in my hair, and this is my first time using rollers with them, so we will see at the end of this look like actually how the hairstyle takes in the hot rollers, because I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, I think we're about as blended as we can be there. By medium coverage, when I say that, I mean I'm just seeing certain characteristics in my skin through the makeup. I'm seeing quite a bit of freckles, quite a bit of still redness around the nose, still some dark circles under the eyes. Like, it just does what a classic foundation would do and doesn't really go too far beyond it. I got a couple different concealer options here. One was kind of a dud in my last Best in Beauty video, this 24-hour Studio Fix. I don't know what it is, but I feel like that stuff just dries down too dry and ends up looking visibly dry on my skin. And I don't have the driest of the dry skin, but around the eye area it just seems like a bit much. So here's another one that I've had for quite a long time. It's the Water Weight Concealer, and I have this in the shade NC20. Not sure if I've ever talked about this before, but it is thin as water, as they say. It has a little dropper here. Give you a feel for the consistency of that. It just literally drops. It drips. And I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of this around my eye area. It doesn't take a whole ton of product, I feel like, to satisfy me with this stuff, which is sort of fascinating. It does more than I would have thought. So I got a little around the nose. This is, did I say this is an NC20? And I'm just going to use my Sephora Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush. And I think you're going to be surprised at the level of coverage you get out of this absolutely thin as water product. Well, maybe just a hair thicker than water, but certainly not as thick as chocolate syrup or caramel sauce or butter. can tell where my head's at right now. Kind of get that blended a little bit around the eyes. It's kind of an interesting, like, nice smoothness that comes from this concealer, and I feel like a little extra moisture. Is there, I assume there's a foundation of this type too. What do you think about that? I'm kind of curious about the foundation, if there is one. But like, it spreads so well across the skin, a little bit goes over such a large surface area, and I feel very brightened, and I feel like I can kind of see a little circle still peeking through here, and you know, it doesn't drive me crazy because I know I didn't go in with like a peachy corrector first. And this is just a skin tone concealer, so I get that. But truly, just an overall glance at myself, I'm happy with this. Now, next up is a MAC thing that I am loving. A really, really great powder, and I got this based on a recommendation from Dustin Hunter. If you're not familiar with his YouTube channel, I think you should probably check him out. He knows a ton about MAC, and I can't remember the exact video. It may have been like a roundup of all MAC powders, and he was explaining them. But I got this Next to Nothing pressed powder. I have it in the shade Light Plus. You've got your little powder puff here. This really would be a powder that I think would lend itself to a touch-up if you like to touch up with powder. The texture's so smooth though. Oh my gosh, just buttery. I love it. And this is beautiful to set the under eye. Like, this is kind of up there with my new Laura Mercier pressed, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good texture, it's a good level of just, you know, that itty bitty bit of added coverage, but ultimately, you know, taking away tacky textures on the skin, leaving you with better staying power. So I dab this on the under eye. I'm gonna dab this across the T-zone. I don't feel like the Studio Fix foundation is especially a texture that I've got to go crazy really setting, so I just kind of do the T-zone. I kind of feel like a MAC novice overall. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot to know about this brand. They have many, many products, but I'm just kind of giving it all my best shot and letting you know how it goes for me. As far as bronzing and contouring goes, we've got a few options here. I do have this Sculpt and Shape contour palette. This was something sent in PR. I think it's got some good tones in here. It gives a very light, soft, natural contour on me. And then they also have a deeper option as well. And I believe these are all like certain shades that do exist generally in their line. Emphasize, Cream, Accentuate, Taupe, Sculpt, Bone Beige, those are all like classic MAC shades. I've got a matte bronzer. This, I can't remember what collection this was. I can't get over how stunning that is, but I remember first buying something called matte bronzer from MAC as probably one of my first ever MAC purchases. Like, if I look back in my blogs and videos, that's probably what I would reveal, was that that was one of the first things I got. So I have this thing labeled matte bronzer, and then we have something from this Boom Boom Bloom collection here, which, gorgeous packaging. This stuff, I'm perturbed because they call this stuff highlight powder, and I have one called Spring Bling and one called Fleureal. These things were loaded with overspray when I first got them, and they did kind of look like highlights. They looked that shimmery. They looked metallic, frankly. There was a very, like, maybe you can see from the little outer edge, but there was a dark kind of shimmery berry looking overspray on this, and now it just comes off as a soft, almost matte pink powder. And this one, which looked very golden and sort of highlighter-esque, now comes off like kind of a matte bronzer, honestly. So I'm gonna use that today. And it's crazy because they're calling it a highlight powder. Like, what's that about? So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and just use it as a soft bronzer because frankly, that's what it is once you get through the overspray. But that pink one, like, I popped that on like blush, and it was so intense because I didn't realize it was an overspray at first. And so I just went in and thought, okay, here's what we're working with. And it was just like really intense on one cheek, and then I went back to do the other cheek, and it was clear I'd picked up that top layer of product, you know. Freaking hate overspray. Sorry, hate is a strong word, and you won't hear me use that much on my channel, but in reference to overspray, I think it's fair. This is what they're calling a highlight powder, y'all. Definitely contouring my cheeks with it. If anybody wants to explain this to me, feel free. I'm sure I got a few MAC pros in the comments section. But I'm surprised with this collection, this Boom Boom Bloom, that they didn't put out like some really gorgeous blushes, because they have some lovely lipsticks, lip glosses, little eyeshadow palette, these strange powders, but why no blushes? Like, it just seems like it would fit the color scheme so well. But speaking of blush, I have some single MAC blushes, and then I had purchased a couple more. Here's the way I've redone my Salt New York palette. I love this Zip Around Z palette. I've got some MAC blushes here. I think I'm gonna go for a little of this shade. This is called Blush Baby. I was gonna call it Bliss Baby. And then I may bump up the color of that a notch with Breezy right next to it. Blush Baby seems kind of matte. Breezy has just a hint of shimmer. Really pretty. I love how much color Blush Baby actually does give off on the cheeks while looking so muted in the pan. But I was trying to do the thing recently with my MAC order where I got the studio fix and everything. They showed some different MAC like kind of pre-done palettes where it had the slots for 2 blushes and 6 eyeshadows. And my individual pans ended up coming after 2 discussions with customer service. They went ahead and sent the pans, but they do not apparently have the palette that holds it in stock. I'm not sure when they ever will. They had no info on that. So that's why I'm using this. And turns out I actually really love this and the flexibility that it provides. So fine. Keep your little template palette, MAC. I'll go with this. Okay, so that's just Blush Baby on. And then I'm going to deepen just slightly with a little bit of this outer part of the apple, maybe. A little bit of Breezy. I think it's kind of hard to argue with MAC blushes. Like, I love the mineralized one in Warm Soul that I have. That was a recent favorites video pick. They just have so many options in the individual, like, pans of just classic blushes. Great, really pleased with that cheek. For a highlight, one of my favorite ones, I use this a lot around the holidays and around my 31 Days of Glitter. This one called Snow Flushed. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. It has like a pinky shift to the very, very fine glitter in it. It's really exceptional. I think that's gorgeous. But what I'm going to use today is, I think, a little bit softer than that. It's the Extra Dimension Skin Finish, and the shade is called Whisper of Guilt. Looks like that in the pan, looks kind of metallic, but it's not crazy out of control on the cheeks. Like, gives you a nice glow. I guess what I mean by not out of control is this tone really, like, meshes in with my skin tone well. It looks good on top of just about any blush. Just looks really, I don't know, natural. Yeah, it can be glowy if you want to build it. So you guys know how I did that like new blush and highlight roundup video? I'm planning to do another one like that, but for eyeshadow palettes, because I've accumulated some new ones. There's just a couple that I'm sort of figuring out yet, and including the new Naked palette. So that'll probably be one of my next videos, will be kind of a new palette roundup. Are we sufficiently glowing? Yes. Okay. Moving on. I'm going to use some of this spray. Now, I really like this MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus in the Cherry Blossom scent. I can definitely pick up on kind of a scent coming from this that's unique to this product. It's fresh, it's light, it's not too heavy. You don't feel like you're spraying perfume on your face, but it's got a little different vibe to it. And I like the sprayers on MAC Fix Plus. I like the little locking mechanism at the top there. Something else I was trying was the Gold Light Fix Plus, so it has like a little shimmer in it. Not quite sure I'm actually getting anything from that. It's kind of hard to tell. Looking for my brow product. Alrighty. This is called the Eyebrow Styler, and the shade is Spiked. And this is one of those that's going to give you your spoolie on one end. We'll go ahead and get things brushed about. And then we have a pretty fine pencil on the other end. I want to say that that's as fine as a Brow Wiz. I think it is. And this is one of those pencils where you're like, yes, it's fine. I mean, I feel like I had the same reaction to the new skinny pencil from Sigma. It's like, yes, it works. Yes, it's the proper tone, but I can find the same thing for probably $5 to $7 in the drugstore, so what are you gonna do? I think a lot of it might depend on tone. You know, some people are harder to match with their brows. With me, if you can find me a semi-deep, cool tone brown, it's probably gonna work in my brows. Another reason why I'm not real hard to please on brow color tones is because I've got a lot of eyebrow hair here, so you're not having to see a lot of freestanding color. It's all kind of just mixing into my brow, making it more forgiving. So I understand that I might be a little easier to please on these brow products and be like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But that's just my situation at the moment. Okay, so I've got that in there. It's a good texture. It's not too firm to where the product is difficult to like lay down, and it's not too soft to where I feel like it's gooping through my brows. I'll go through with a little bit of gel. I don't think I have any MAC gel, but I'll do something in here to set it, since this particular pencil and a lot of skinny pencils don't necessarily do anything for the hold of your brows. Are there any people out there who have a basketball team that they're a fan of that's in the Valley tournament this weekend? The Missouri Valley Conference tournament? Oh, I'm so pumped. SIU is coming in hot. They have had big wins over Loyola of all teams. Indiana State, ISU. I mean, there were some nail biters in there, but dang, they pulled off the win, so I'm really excited for the games this weekend. It's one of those conferences where it could be any team's win. You know, there are so many teams that are just kind of vying for a top spot, and it just kind of depends on how they play on that day. So it's going to be fun to watch. I get too riled up during these games. So like I will be standing 3 feet from the TV for a good chunk of the game. Bouncing around. There's our brows. Just kind of brushing everything through here. Again, that works just fine for me. This is a good color. This is something I will have in the brow rotation, if you will, but I can't sit here and say it's that much better than anything else. Here's my Sigma Tint and Tame, though. I do like this stuff. Kind of work it right in there to those front hairs. Help them stand up and say, hey, I'm hair. You know the thing about Fix Plus, though, like it doesn't really make me feel dewy. Does anybody know what I'm saying here? Maybe I need a little bit more. I think it sets the makeup, but more, it's closer to like what Urban Decay All Nighter does for me, not so much what like a Mario Badescu or Hard Candy Sheer Envy Primer Mist or that kind of thing. It's more toward that other end. Now what I think I'm going to do eyeshadow wise is use this little palette from the Boom Boom Bloom collection. I've used this a couple times already. I do love that packaging and design with those petals. It reminds me of what my sister paints in watercolor. She's a very detailed watercolor artist, and these petals have the look of her flowers that she does in watercolor. It's really cool. We need to get Papa Gig to have the artwork on the outside of a MAC collection, don't we? But I'm going to use a little eyeshadow primer. Sorry, I don't have any specific from MAC. So Milani it is. And I might pull in a shade from my little collection there that I showed in my Z palette. We'll see. I got the shade Floof. Is that how you say it? Floof? Ploof? It's like a really, really light, ultra shimmery shade, and it's like the most going there shimmery highlight ever. And I'm kind of excited. Maybe I can work that in. Okay, we primed. PHLOOF! Exclamation mark. That's what that one looks like. Those are my shades that I have in my palette. I feel like this palette is so super wearable. They've got these 3 great mattes right down the middle. I'm going to use the one in the middle top, which is Making Mauve Moves. Okay, Making Mauve Moves. I'm just going to get that going here in the crease. I've had a couple of these different like 9-color eye palettes from MAC, and there have been a couple times where I thought, it's kind of inconsistent, or I just don't love the shade selection, or don't love every shade. But this one I feel has been pretty consistent. Like I'm pretty happy with all of it. Thing is, it's just not that unique, so. But it's so super compact, you know, that's 9 shadows there, and I could see a lot of people liking it just for that. And I kind of like that this could give me any like level of neutral look that I would need for on the go. Like put this in a travel bag. You got a really dark shade here. I love the little bit of burgundy mixed with brown in that shade. You got 3 kind of shimmery neutrals and 3 shades here that can kind of take you in different directions. A little cooler, more bronzy, or more reddish. And I like taking that red, actually. I don't think it's the strongest shade packed on. It might be better wet, but just kind of buffed on the outside of the look. It looks really pretty. Okay, we're gonna blend over that Mauve Moves color. Oh, I can hear the birds tweeting. Sun must be starting to come up. Y'all are going to be seeing a little more light out that window soon, what with the time change this weekend. I'm taking this light color here called, is that Dust Off? Put a little bit of that under the brow. I'm going to take some of this cool color up here, Tokyo Drifter. So this is kind of a little bit deeper taupe, I feel. Like a taupe with some charcoal mixed in. And we're just gonna pat this on the lid. See how the use of that shade kind of cools down the look, where a lot of the other colors in here tend to warm it up. As I'm patting this on, I'm kind of letting some of that wedge up to my crease also, because I feel like this shade just kind of, the depth level of it, it sort of works. And as much as I love sticking to just one palette to show you, you know, in the practical sense, what will that do, I do really want to pull for this floof shade over here. If anybody wants to take the time to give me a pronouncer on that in the comments section, that'd be fine. It doesn't look that crazy as you see it in the pan. And I'm gonna get some of this with my, this is an E47 from Sigma, but it's just so like going there as a highlighter shade. But it's smooth, it's not like chunky and crazy. It's just got like an iciness to it. There's no building up for it. It's like exactly where you lightly put your brush. It just glows. Super duper brightening inner corner shade there. Then I think I might take a little bit of this shade. This is called Shadowy Lady. It's a very cool seeming dark plum. Ooh, and there was a lot on the outside of the pan there. At least I didn't touch my sweater. But let's get just a little bit of that on a small brush. Just bumping up our outer corner a little bit. That's a color that impresses me more when it's sheared out than when it is full on applied. When it's applied full on, you know, it's gonna look really dark. But when you shear it out, you see just that hint more plum. It plays nicely with a lot of other shadows. I also really love this shade that I've got sitting next to it called I'm Into It. It's this brick, kind of burgundy matte. Other shades I have here are Expensive Pink. That's Humid, I think. And this one is Espresso. That's my little MAC 6-pack there. Back to this guy, I think I am gonna do what I was trying to describe to you, is go to this bottom corner shade and sort of let that come over the edge. It looks really pretty sheer like that. Just the little bit of warmth, like a very gentle copper look is what that offers. And if you were doing this whole look and just sticking to this palette, I mean, you've got this as a light shade, and then this could be your dark shade where I put Shadowy Lady in the outer corner. It is kind of fun to mix the old and the new, though. What should I do for lower lash line? Maybe we stay with a little bit of this color right here that we went on the lid with. Kind of cool, a little bit smoky. Yeah, that lays down nicely with a pencil brush. Now friends, I do not have a MAC mascara. I'm so sorry about that. It wasn't really on my radar. I forgot the fact that I don't have one, and I don't have one. So I'm going to just pop on a little mascara. I'll probably use, let's see, I'm trying to get use out of this one from L'Oreal. I love the design of it. I talked about this in a video, but it doesn't hold my curl great, but I'm going ahead and trying to get some use out of it anyway. So I'll pop that on and I will be right back. Mascara is on, and next up I want to try on just a few different lip options for you. One of the things that I've uncovered from MAC that I really love, and I mentioned this in my favorites video, is the Grand Illusion Glossy Liquid Lip Color. So not a matte, it is shiny. This shade is called It's Just Candy. It's like a shimmery red, and I'm going to pop this on for you, and I think the appearance is just mind-blowing, but also the feel on the lips. Oh, it smells so good too. It smells kind of sweet and vanilla-y like MAC tends to smell, but it feels very cooling going on too. I'm not sure if there's a plumping factor to these, but they just have a beautiful shine. See, I think that shade is just beautiful. It's not sheer, and it's just really shiny, feels fantastic on the lips, and the shimmer that's in this has kind of a golden shimmer, and it makes everything just catch the light that much more. I think that's so pretty. But I am going to take that off and try on a couple of the things from the Boom Boom Bloom line. My favorite lip gloss from that line, and I really do like this shade, it's called Heart Melter, and the packaging, again, it's got little petals kind of falling down from the top all the way to the bottom. It's so pretty. And let's just pop this on. No shimmer in this, it's just going to be a shiny mauve, kind of My Lips But Better type shade. I like that color so much, and I don't really have a lot of this kind of shade in a gloss, so that's really pretty. And then I'm going to show you my favorite lipstick from this line. Everything in the collection looks pretty, but the packaging of the lipsticks might be my favorite thing. I love how they're all white, and then you can really see the little petals falling, and then the hardware part of it, the metal part, is a really light pink. And this shade called, I think you say it, Framboise Moi. This raspberry color is so pretty, and it's matte. There's one cream sheen in this collection, and then the rest are matte, and it's just a lot of like variations on pink, but this would be the deepest and kind of boldest offering. So I'm gonna pop this on. I also pulled out the lip gloss that's called For the Frill of It, and it's got a little bit of shine. I may or may not pop some of that on with it, we'll see. I don't think I even want to alter this in any way, shape, or form. When I first glance at this, I think fruit punch. That reddish berry look is so pretty. And I do like the formula of these mattes as well. They're not shiny really to look at them, but they don't look dry. I think they've got products in their line that look more matte than these matte lipsticks. They kind of remind me of a bite lipstick going on, this one does. It's got that moisture, a little bit of thickness, a really good creamy feel, yet you do have a little bit of sheen on the lips after you've put them on, but not crazy, and then if you blotted them down, they would very quickly look fully matte. Now here's my trick with my L'Oreal mascara after it's dried down. I give it a very gentle recurl, and then I'll have pretty good luck throughout the day. Just needs that because the mascara drops down my lashes just a little bit. Now should I just let the camera roll while I take these rollers out and see what we've got? I got 3 inches off the bottom of my hair and then layers everywhere else. It is insane, the volume and how much better my hair responds to the rollers now that it's not so long and heavy. First time ever like styling this particular style. I mean, I've had my hair this way quite a long time ago probably, but it's been a while since I've had big layers in it. Here's the hair that I asked for. It was when J-Lo was performing at the Grammys and she's coming up from the floor and she's got this feathered thing on and then her hair looks all glam and just gorgeous. That's what I wanted to achieve, and I think I got there with it. Back to the makeup. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to hear what products impressed you the most, what products you love from MAC. To me, just thinking back through the things I enjoyed most, complexion-wise, this water weight concealer really impresses me, and also the Next to Nothing powder. I think those kind of make a nice duo. I really liked my MAC blushes that I used here. It was Blush Baby and Breezy, and then I also have in here, this one's a new one I got called Burnt Pepper. And then one that I've had for a while, this one is Spring Sheen. So I kind of have like a cooler look and a warmer blush duo there. But I think MAC blushes are just really great overall. As basic as it is, I did enjoy this eyeshadow, I want to say quad for the size of it, but it's a 9-color palette, and the lip colors, the gloss and the lipstick from this line are so nice. These powders, I would skip them because they're not what you see as what you get, number 1, and number 2, it's like, I don't know, it ends up being a bronzer. The other one ends up being like a light matte pink powder. Who knows? Oh, I do like this highlight as well, this Whisper of Guilt. I thought that was gorgeous. And you know, the Studio Fix Fluid, I got no complaints. As far as a medium coverage foundation goes, it wears well on me. I do enjoy my finished look. I just feel like I can even get more coverage at a lower price tag, just FYI. But let me know your feedback in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.